Okay, so right now, I'm going to jump into something that I think you'll love. If you're a ministry leader and you're a creative that helps churches and you have this desire, you have a desire that says, hey, I wish someone could come and just like poke holes in my work because I have a desire to grow. I have a desire to just be world-class and amazing. Well, that was my heart's desire when I was working full-time for a church in California. God actually gifted me with an amazing apprentice role with the guy that was creating the promos for The Apprentice. It was at that time the most successful TV show, and it was the most popular TV show. And also he was doing promos and producing for America's Got Talent. This guy was just world class. Well, he came into my life and started mentoring me on how I can improve my work for the Lord in this digital space, in this space of video editing, and in this space of just in general. Also, God's given me other mentors that were also world class. One of the men in my life helped me build a brand strategy that had helped Pizza Hut with their brand strategy. How cool is that? God gifts me and others that have a heart's desire to want to serve the Lord with just amazing people. And so with that heart, I'm going online and I'm just doing a media ministry audit on Facebook groups. And I started with my favorite Facebook group. And this Facebook group is called Idea Day Network. It's the Idea Day Network. It's no longer running, but there's still a Facebook group that still operates, and they gather in this group, and they still encourage each other and love each other. And it was amazing ministry that basically they accomplished their goal of coming up with amazing ideas on how to do better ministry. And so I jumped into this Facebook group and I did a media ministry audit. I'm going to share what I recorded for that Facebook group on YouTube now. As you watch this, I know you'll pick up some pointers on how you can improve your online presence. I went on their websites and I just picked apart their website and said what they could do better and how they could advance their media ministry. So check it out. Time for a little audit of my favorite group of people, the Idea Network Facebook group. Y'all, you're gonna feel attacked. The temptation's there to think that I'm gonna be attacking you as a group, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I am gonna exhort you and maybe correct you a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I think this network is one of the best groups of people I've ever invested into. Many of you are part of our team and our group, which is the Media Ministry group. MediaMinistry.church helps and has helped and worked with many of you in this group. And what I'm about to do right now is essentially randomly pick individuals that I don't know from this group and do a little media ministry online audit, an online audit of your presence online. Because unfortunately, as I audit different churches' websites from this group and from groups all over the country, and I find church presences, and when I find what my friends are even doing and or people that I know are doing that are pastors with their online presence, I know that I can put myself in the shoes of the audience and give very amazing, helpful feedback because I've been doing this for the past 15 years, helping pastors advance their media ministry so that they can attract people to God's church through calibrated and beautiful presentations of what the church really is. The church can be an aspirational image. Unfortunately, as I do an audit, like I'm about to, with 99% of most church websites, you are not casting the right vision of what the church is into your community. And guess what? The churches that are the fastest growing in your city and in your area and in your state, they're actually, and I'll prove it right now, I'm going to randomly select a church and a pastor from this group, look at their church website, and then study the different churches around the area, and I almost guarantee that the ones that are the fastest growing in this area and that are reaching the most people in the area, usually they're probably not even going to be the most doctrinally sound church. But what they're doing is casting an aspirational image into the world about what God's church looks like. So that when a visitor goes to their website, they say, man, I want to be in that. I want to be a part of that. Because it's aspirational, meaning people will aspire to be in an image. If you show people loving each other, show people smiling, show people hugging and being in community with one another in a beautiful, community-centered way, in a way that is literally the body of Christ. If you're casting that image into the world and anyone shows up to your website, they are immediately going to want to be a part of that picture. They're going to want that picture in their life, and therefore they're going to show up to church without even reading your doctrinal statement. Yes, that's how powerful an aspirational image is. And we're going to go randomly select people from this group, look at their website, and do an audit. What is being communicated? We want to clarify our message when we're communicating what we are and how it makes life better. If you're not answering those two questions immediately through images and then through very simple text, unfortunately, people are just going to move along and go to the other church that's possibly not as doctrinally sound as yours. A lot of times the way that I describe this is churches that I love, that I know are amazing, are the best kept secret in most cities. Because I show up and they're doctrinally super solid, but unfortunately, their publishing online is one of the most novice experiences of publishing that can be in a city. And most people, when they show up to your website, if it's super novice looking and it's not aspirational, they're just going to move along to the one that is advanced and that is actually connecting with their heart, which is what they are looking for. They're looking for connections to good people. If you're not casting that picture into the world, unfortunately, it's just going to be something that people are going to ignore. And a lot of our churches could be benefiting from extreme growth that is happening across the country in these types of churches that are amazing and advanced in their media strategies. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of effort to really cast what these fastest growing churches in America are doing, casting an image of beauty and love into the world. It is true of all of our churches, but unfortunately we dominate so heavy on what we are instead of the outcome of what we are, which is love or peace, patient, kind people. And we need to clarify, yes, who we are, but also show what who we are turns into: beautiful lives, living in unity and in love. Let's jump into this quick audit of the Idea Network Facebook group. I'm going to randomly select, and I have already done this, randomly selected people from this group and gone to their Facebook page, figured out that they're, yes, a pastor, and then which church they are pastoring. And the first one is Faith Baptist Church, and we want to see where you are. This church is in Oregon. All right, cool. So here's the first thing that someone that shows up to your site, remember, I'm putting myself in the shoes of the people that are looking at your website from your city. They have already decided they want to go to a church, and they're trying to figure out what church. Or a friend sent them to your website. And what is it? How does it make life better? Those are the two questions someone should answer immediately in their brain without even having to read sometimes. If you can accomplish answering what it is and how it makes life better without someone having to use their brain cells, but just immediately figure it out through images that are aspirational, they will immediately want to do the next thing, which is ask the question of, whoa, where is this and how can I be a part? And then that's when you give them a call to action. So what is it? How to make life better? And how can I be a part? Okay, that's what we're gonna assess, do a quick audit of if that's happening here. And immediately I have to say, man, unfortunately, no. Is this a city? The picture here is trees. And it's just like an overview of a city. Maybe this is the city where your church resides. If they're in the city, you already know that this is their city where they reside. So showing a picture of an aerial view of your city doesn't clarify what this is and how it makes life better. Welcome home? What home? Which building? Where? What do you mean, welcome home? And to who? Home is a place for people to belong. Right now, I don't see any people. Okay, scan, scroll. I still don't see people. Home, I still don't see what home. I see the backs of heads right here. Unfortunately, that is, this is stock image. You can just tell. What would be better would be to have some pictures of your church here in a slideshow setting that demonstrates what home looks like. And then if you scroll down, then actual pictures of your people here. And facing the camera, smiling, having a good time. And that's it, right? So the only picture that has a smiling face of someone that is welcoming them and or ushering them into the actual experience of what this church is in the background, and it's grayed out. So what I would say is, don't do that. Don't put the best picture in the background blurred out. Put the best picture of someone smiling, having a good time at the forefront of your website. Every week, just start taking pictures of your church before the service and after. And then just post some of those here. And then also, if you're on your website, this is unfortunately what I see in most churches' Facebook group or Facebook page is nothing but graphics. The church is not graphics. If someone shows up to your Facebook page to figure out what this is like, what is it, how does it make life better, they're asking questions like, what's the experience going to be like? And they show up and they see just graphics. They're not going to read these graphics. And most people aren't going to share these graphics. They're not aspirational. They're not inspirational. They're just informational. Unfortunately, right now, this church is not aspiring anyone from this city, hardly at all, to go to this church. So it's just going to leverage its strengths, which is a one-on-one, personal, relational way of getting someone to church, which works, and it's worked for the past 2,000 years. But if we have a tool that is a publishing tool that can demonstrate to the public what the Church of God is going to look like and feel like, and it can inspire a heart to want to be a part, why wouldn't you go all in on that strategy? And unfortunately, we don't see that in this church. Let's go to the next church. First Baptist Church in Bedford, Indiana. All right, so this church, I see the back of heads immediately and a ton of graphics. Okay, so we're starting to see some pictures of people together having a good time. So this one's a little better, but it also, these pictures are not that aspirational, meaning there's not people smiling and laughing together. It's just kind of like somewhat boring images. Maybe the closest one to good is this. But this isn't even the experience of the church, I don't think. This looks like a camp. This looks more like the experience of the church, and it's back of heads for the most part. And it's closed eyes and someone on the pulpit here. Maybe this is the pastor. I would say flip the script here. Do as many pictures of your church having a great time together as you have of graphics. And then the pictures you do have make into graphics that actually maybe are encouraging, Word of God type graphics. Almost no one is going to engage with graphics. They will engage with pictures of people, and especially if someone's trying to check out your church to visit. So I think this is the church website. And again, what is it? How does it make life better? I can see this as an inside of an auditorium. What is it? Honestly, if I was a person that didn't have a Christian background, I'd be like, no, this looks like a banquet hall or some form of stage where a performance happens. And that's true, but What is it? How make life better? I have no idea how this makes my life better. I have to read now, so I have to say Bedford First Baptist Church, okay, and then gives me the information. But this is very heavy on information, not on aspiration and inspiration. If you scroll, you start seeing some more graphics and much text. So the majority of this website landing page is text. Almost no one wants to read. They want to just be inspired, and they want to see people in the life that they want. Happy, smiling, having a great time. Okay, so right now this church is really needing to redo this whole website. Totally ignore pictures of your stage with empty everything and put pictures of people having an amazing time together, worshiping, smiling, having an amazing time. That's what the Church of God is. It's not empty pews and a stage. So show what this actually is and ignore images of your building. No one cares about your building. It's not inspiring me. Go to your church if you're showing the inside of your building. Ignore pictures of your building and really go all out and all in on images that are aspirational. I built my church's website and have helped them with this church website. And what we did was we try our hardest to put pictures of people together having a great time throughout this website. So if you see right here, this is kind of not my favorite. This used to be a slideshow of aspirational images of what the church looks like. So smiling people, and it was a video. And so right now, but at least this shows a huge crowd of people that are together. I would say probably ignore images like this, put more images like the ones that we find here, our church. So if you come here, it's the same exact image, but then if you scroll, you start seeing images of people in an aspirational image way. So a man with a wife, and they obviously love each other and are for each other. And then a person smiling, having a worship experience. That person looks like they're having a good time. A person getting baptized. That person looks like the kind of person I want to be. I want to be happy and elated. I want to have a thumbs up in my life. I want to go and love people and be in community, helping the poor and disenfranchised. Do you see how this is very aspirational? This is where we want to be. We want to be aspirational. So let's go to these cities, these churches. This is the last one here that I'm going to just do a little audit on. And so, hey, and we're going to be sniping the different groups on Facebook. I'm going to be sniping at these and just landing on random pastors' websites and doing a little quick audit of how they're doing on publishing God's message and what their online presence is. And so we're just going to do another little quick audit of this website. So what I see immediately is a group of people hanging out together, and they all look extremely bored. They don't look like they're having a good time. I would totally eliminate this picture, and it looks like it's half empty. There's empty pews everywhere, and I'm not very inspired by this. Okay, so I would say ignore images of pews that are empty and people that don't really look like they're together. Most people in this image look like they're uncomfortable. Uncomfortable hands in front of them holding themselves. That's all. This is all image of discomfort, not comfort. And so take pictures weekly of your gathering before and after, because that's when community actually happens, and take pictures of those moments. See, now this is beautiful. This is what we want to see. A family together, dressed well, in a beautiful picture and smiling together. Okay, so do more of this and less of this. Almost no one's going to want to come to this church if all they see is just this and that's it, and they don't scroll. So really go all in on super happy, friendly images here, and also try to communicate what it is and how it makes life better. Use some form of communication that says, come to Jesus, find life. Something that clarifies what it is how it makes life better. What is it? It's a place where people talk about Jesus, and it makes life better because I'm going to find my life. I feel lost and broken. And if you communicate to my heart that way, instead of saying all of this data of information that I really could care less about, then I will ask the question, well, when and how do I go to this to find life and meet Jesus? And then this is where so bury the majority of this information. Like all of this is front and center. And I would say, oh, there we go. So a really great image of some teens having a good time together. So I would say duplicate this like 20 times on this landing page, and more people will just start showing up to your church. I guarantee it. Okay, so let's look at where this is, and let's just start doing an audit of this city. And let's do a little church. Okay, so immediately we go to Lifehouse Church. They're sponsored. And this is, there we go. Do you see? People together, having a blast, having a great time. These people look like they really want to be there. They're having an amazing time. I would almost guarantee that this church has visitors every single week just because they have these images on their website. They are slamming it, like they are crushing it. And then if you want to put an image of your city and after the fact to show where you are, this is great. One of the better landing pages I've seen in a while for a church. I don't know if this isn't exactly in the same city as our friend, but I would say this is MD, Maryland. Okay, so let's go. But that was a beautiful example of what I'm talking about. This church really knows what they're doing, and they're using their marketing budget to make it so that they're first on screen when you search for church in their area. And so I don't know if this is in the area actually, but I'm just saying they are getting me to want to go to this church. And I didn't even read the doctrinal position or what it is. I just knew these people are having a good time. I want to have a good time. These people are in community. I want to be in community. These people look like they're good people, so I should probably show up and have a good time. And if I'm being led by God to go to a church, I'm going to pick a church like that versus the other churches we just did an audit on. Okay? 100%. Okay, so let's go to the first few churches here. So we're in Idaho. So this is the church I think we just looked at. Okay, so hey, you're landing number one. That's really good. Not number one, but definitely let's go to the number one listed. Okay, another very boring website landing page. This one is not really going to be leading tons of people to their church, unfortunately. Same thing here. So you don't really have that much competition in your area, honestly. What is, okay, so this is the landing page for that other church. Okay, so let's just say Indiana. Okay, so Indiana church. And this is the first church that pops up. Nope, that's broken downtown. All right, so at least they got a picture of people having a good time together and someone smiling, worshiping. They are also doing very good at communicating what it is, how it makes life better. Love God, love others, make disciples. That's what it is. How it makes life better. I'm going to be loved. I like that. And they're showing me what it looks like when I'm being loved. People are going to help me get baptized and help me worship. And I'm going to smile with others and have a good time. This is great. This is doing really good. Do more of this and less of what we are seeing over here. Don't do that. Okay, so do more of this. So this is great landing page, and it's also, by the way, one of the first churches you'll find if you search for Indiana Church, Indy Church. Actually, that might not. Let's do Indiana Church, Indiana Church, connection point, and there we go again. Another really awesome demonstration of what this is going to look like if you show up. Actually, I think this is one of my homies from Phoenix's. Yep, John Dickerson. John S. Dickerson is one of the best leaders in America. He wrote the book Jesus Skeptic, my top favorite books of all time, and I happen to actually lead a Bible study with him. He led the Bible study, and he invited me to co-lead with it in Phoenix, Arizona, where he went for seminary. And he became a pastor of this church. This is a huge mega church in Indiana. And I had no idea that I was clicking on my friend's website, but he and this church, they are doing some of the best media work in America that lead people to Jesus. He's leading thousands of people to Jesus through this church, and they're doing it in an aspirational way. What is it? Connecting people to Jesus and each other. Awesome. How does it make life better? Man, I'm going to have a smiling time with people. I'm going to be in community. I'm going to worship the Lord and find Jesus. Okay, man, amazing. I love this, John. John, dude, man, this is amazing. I landed on my friend's website where I'm doing an audit of what a website should look like. I love this. So here we go. Man, even when you go to the team, they're showing you what the team is going to look like if you go. Smiling, happy, awesome people. And this is my buddy, man, one of the best leaders in America. I got to tell you, he's been on the Carey Nieuwhof podcast. Often his books are recommended by the top leaders in America. One of just the most amazing dudes. I love this guy. I was his wedding photographer. Dude, man, I am just so pumped that through this audit, we found my buddy's website, and I was able to point to him. And again, I've been doing this often, pointing to him again as a great example of how to lead a church in a way that is advanced and excellent. Excellent, excellent. So good. Okay, so we are called to excellence. We are called to represent a most excellent God. What did God do to the priests of Malachi's day? What did Malachi preach against? What did God cause Malachi to go and speak to the priests of his day? What were they offering up? Corrupt, boring sacrifices. And God was angry at them because he was like, give that to the governor. Will he accept it? That's no sacrifice. And in our day, we are royal priests, and we're called to be a living sacrifice. We are called to live our lives in a way that is excellent, beautiful, and good. We are called to excellence. And when we do things without excellence, we're casting a negative light on the one that we represent and say we serve. We don't want that. Now, I'm not saying that is true of all of these churches that we just audited. But I am saying you definitely could improve. You could definitely put a better foot forward of what the church of God looks like my homie here, John S. Dickerson. He is Audit, and I love that. For this group, for them to see what God is doing through this church and how this man has operated. I know him personally. He is just an incredible, excellent leader. And this is what we should aspire to be. Men of God that want to publish God's message in the most beautiful and excellent way to attract as many hearts to God's church and for them to accept Jesus as their Savior so that we could lead them into more gospel ministry through them and that they might make an impact. That is our calling. Make disciples of all nations, right? And we are to do it with excellence. And I love what my friend, Pastor Carey Schmidt, said. Again, I moved from California to serve here in Connecticut with my friend, Pastor Carey Schmidt. And he said what I'm about to just share with you, and we'll end this here. I lead pastors through this really quick summation of what a strong brand is and what the typical church brand is. Usually the typical church brand is not defined by these words: consistent, creative, skillful. And I demonstrate through some of my friends' rebrand strategy that we did in Honolulu area, where we rebranded and made things look excellent and proper. And then I always end the presentation of how to do a rebrand and how to publish with excellence by landing on this idea. Pastor Kerry Schmidt wrote this in a blog while I was at Bible college, and I used it to help my roommates because they were not doing their dishes, not being clean, and I printed this and put it all on everyone's bed. And I said, guys, things don't change. I'm moving out, and hopefully this is a great encouragement to you, because we are to live in a way that is representing our God beautifully. And what ended up happening, I moved out, and I created my own place where people could show up and have a most excellent experience. And a lot of my friends from Bible college, when they would come to visit, they would stay with us, and they would say they'd have just the most amazing experience. And I qualified that decision to move out of this dirty, nasty place where supposed men of God were living, and yet their example wasn't being true to it. So I moved out thinking to myself, well, by faith, I'm going to move out and build my own apartment and create my own living space and invite people to live with me. And that led to me being best friends with some of the most amazing people at West Coast Baptist College, where I went, and who were Bible college students that wanted an excellent place to live. And by the grace of God, I was able to provide that. It was amazing. And God used this as a tool for me to qualify that decision, to say, yes, this is what God expects of me. And it was a blog post, and it was a really amazing blog post about living an excellent life in Jesus' name. And so here's what he said. When the world does things with excellence, it's an attempt to magnify man's artificial glory. Think about the best brands in the world. They're communicating through excellence, yes, but is their organization truly excellent? No. When God's people do things with excellence, we magnify God's true glory. I love that. It's true that God is excellent. And when we, the people of God, do things with excellence, we're actually magnifying his glory. And people will aspire to want to be a part. So let's do that, guys. As a group, Idea Network, I love you. Idea Day Network, you're still my favorite people, even though it's not a running network anymore. You're still my favorite people, and you're still the kinds of men that I want to invest into. And so if I could help you, go to mediaministry.church, and you can schedule a time with me to do an audit of your website, and I can give you some tips and some techniques, and possibly even a service that'll help you advance your media ministry so that you're more excellent and you're more magnifying the glory of God. And that is our goal, so that men come to Jesus, and so that you can lead more people to Jesus, and so that you could lead more people into gospel ministry. That's the goal. Love you guys. Thank you for watching the video. And if you liked it, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. We're going to be doing videos like this all the time that are just in general, always all about just wanting to mentor you in media ministry, how to advance your media ministry. We want that for you.